Krishna garu.
Happy New Year to you and good evening, Rao.
Happy New Year, Krishna garu.
Bonara.
Yeah. How are you?
Good indeed.
Krishna garu.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you and good evening, Rao.
Happy New Year, Krishna garu.
Oh, this much delay? Lanesh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. ఇంకొక మంగ గారు వస్తారు ఐ థింక్
Hi, Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you, Vishal?
Good. Hi, Rao.
Hi. Sorry, I didn't recognize you.
Vishal.
Hi, Vishalji.
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you, sir?
Good.
Vishal, what is your designation? I always forget that. What is the adjective police officer?
It's called auxiliary police officer.
Auxiliary police officer. సార్ మీ వన్ వర్డ్ గురించి మీరు ఎంటర్ప్రెన్యూర్ అంటారా సీనియర్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ ఇన్ ఐబిఎం అని చెప్పాలా
Senior architect.
ఓకే మంగా గారు వస్తానన్నారు ఏమయ్యారు ఆమె
వచ్చారు
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ మంగా గారు హ్యాపీ న్యూ ఇయర్ టు యూ మీరు మ్యూట్లో ఉన్నారు ఇప్పుడు ఓకే
ఓకేనా
ఓకే అండి
Good. Happy New Year to you and everyone.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
I have seen your video, Raghav, I mean the audio recorded. Washington Post need not do it day in, day out. He does the same thing with the secretary as well as the governor Kemp.
No, what you're saying that audio recording is not true?
Not that it is true that Washington Post need not go and record and then publish. Every day Trump says Kemp and then the secretary, what you are doing is wrong. Even he has it in Twitter, he has everywhere. I listened to that one. So since election, he has been fighting with them openly.
No, I understand, but that the nature of the conversation, I think the country should know that.
Whenever you are ready, Lalish, I'm ready.
Yes, sir, ready.
Yeah, you can calm down. I shared the screen also. We will go first with the Georgia runoff elections. and then later to the medical transparency bill.
Hello. Ready, sir?
Yeah, ready.
Andy, can I get a pen, please? My pen is not writing.
I sent the links where it can be viewed in WhatsApp. Maybe I thought I have sent already, but just now I sent. Generally the same links that we used earlier.
Written 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening and welcome back to Spotlight, sponsored by Easy Jobs. In today's Spotlight, we are going to focus on two issues. One is Georgia runoff elections and the medical transparency bill that has been passed long ago and came into effect from 1st of January this year. This election, Georgia runoff election, is caused due to none of the people who ran for this election got more than 50% votes. And then because of the law of Georgia, the new elections have been called for. And in this election, only the top two contenders were called for. And then these two contenders are contesting for this election. And the country is going to have a lot of impact on these elections. The Senate current strength has been 50 for Republicans and 48 for Democrats. If Democrats win 2 seats, they are going to win the Senate also, by which Biden is going to implement his own agenda. If Republicans win at least 1 seat, then they are going to hold the majority, and most of the issues of Biden can be blocked by the senator. And that is not so. If one of the senator objects for anything, and then if he goes for filibuster, and then the number of votes that are required for any law that is to be passed is 60, and which anyway none of the people are going to get. So basically they are going to just delay it in case something, if they want to delay it, even if Republicans lose, they can delay it by requiring the law to have 60% of votes. So this is a very tricky situation. And then let's see what's going to happen in runoff elections, which are going to be held on the 5th of this month. And again, Trump's claims of election fraud and Biden's claims of election is fair also is going to hinge mostly on the election outcome. If the election outcome favors Republicans, it can be believed that the election, whatever happened, is fraud, and the other way around, people can say Trump's claim is wrong. Let's see what Georgia is going to decide and how Georgia is going to decide the fate of our country. And to discuss about the outcome and how it is going to happen, we have our guest, Ravu Kalwala, the architect, Mr. Vishal Madam, the auxiliary police officer, Manga Anantatpula, the candidate for VA 11 in the recent elections for Congress. Welcome all of you. And then Happy
Thank you,
New Year to
Krishna
my
ji.
viewers. Okay.
Thank you.
See, the elections are on 5th. We all know. So what is going to happen in this election? Who is going to win? With Rao being a Democratic favorite, and then Manga is a Republican candidate, and Vishal Madan, you can say he is a centrist. So let us take their opinion. What's going to happen to election result in in this runoff elections, Rao?
Krishna Garu, I've been reading NPR and BBC reporting on the Georgia runoff election, and they have been reporting that early voting is exactly like November election. A lot of youngsters are coming voted, and also the pattern is very much happening the way it is. But also the polls indicate that Democrats are leading by 2 points. The key is that over the Republicans. And in my view, keeping the politics aside, for the presidential, for Biden, for the new president he needs a Senate majority to pass bills for the future of the country. And I hope and wish that people become sensible in Georgia and carefully choose the senators for the advantage of the state and the country. And the world is watching. We are losing our credibility in the world. The way Trump is shooting even today his messages to election to state secretary. It's very disheartening to see that how this a magnanimous country, United States, is falling apart in the political area when the country is progressing very well in economically in all areas. So my take is that Georgia people are very sensible. They will definitely vote Democratic senators and strengthen the Democratic count in the Senate.
Okay, thank you, Raghav. Mangagar, your opinion on how Georgians are going to react and what will be the outcome and how nation is going to take the outcome.
Thanks for having me on the show, Krishna Garu, and thanks, Rao Garu, for saying that our economic growth is very progressive and very positive. And that credit goes to President Trump because he's the one, even in the times of pandemic, he has improved the economy tremendously. And even before the pandemic hit us, we had the best economy and we had one of the lowest unemployment rate ever in the past 15 or 20 years. So that said, why Georgia elections are very, very historic this year is definitely, as you mentioned, Krishna Garu, that we definitely need to, Republicans need to hold the Senate majority. Otherwise, the Democrats are going to ruin this country. The Democrat Party is now no longer a Republic America that we all once cherished and moved here to make this country our home. It is going to be CCP America. All Democrats are sold for CCP. They are sold to China. And look at Hunter Biden's record and all the obscene photographs and business deals he has been doing with. So definitely to save this country, we Republicans definitely need to hold on to the Senate to preserve the Republic of United States. And I'm sure the polls, whatever the Democrat polls are, they're always fake, like fake news. So definitely those 2-point lead that Rao Garu is talking about, that's another classic example of fake news. And even the very fact that it has been a runoff election, it's all because of election fraud that Democrats have mastered. I mean, the entire 2020 November election has been nothing but election fraud, and our election integrity has been completely completely broken, and the trust of Americans has been broken. I think winning these 2 seats for Republicans would again revive the trust of the voters in United States. And I think we need to have a balance. Democrats have the House, and let Republicans have the Senate, and we'll definitely go get those 2 seats in Georgia. Of course, it's a neck to neck race, but God wills, and if there's justice, and especially if there is no fraud from Democrat side. We have seen so many irregularities and hidden ballots and suitcases of ballots that have been coming out and kicking away the Republican poll watchers and dumping those mail-in ballots, all those frauds. If Republicans are very careful, they are very watchful this time, don't allow the fraud to happen, I'm sure this will be a takeaway for the Republican Senate.
Thank you, Mangagar. Vishal.
Yeah. First of all, Happy New Year to all the viewers. So, as the others see, I see also this particular election as a mini presidential election. The whole nation or the whole world is watching it. Now, saying that, we want to maintain some checks and balances in this country. We don't want to give House, Senate, and presidential powers to one party so that they run their whole agenda. I'm kind of afraid of thinking of their scenario, God forbid, Republicans lose this election, and Democrats run this country based on Bernie Sanders and AOC agenda. I don't know what will happen. So I don't even want to imagine that scenario. So I strongly feel that we will keep this election, we will keep these 2 seats in Senate, we'll have the majority, and that way we'll have checks and balances so that Senate can block anything that is going way too far left. And that's one of the reasons whole country is looking at those elections. Now, if we see what happened on November 3rd, actually Senator David Perdue almost won. He did not get 50%, but he almost won. If we go back to the polls, we saw what happened to the polls. We all saw they were giving Florida and Ohio, everything to Biden. And we actually saw that President Trump won it, right? And even the other states where the polls were giving like 10-point lead, Biden barely won it by 50, 60, 100,000 votes. So let's not go into the polls. We know how biased they are. But if you think logically, even some of the, I will say the Democrat voters who voted for Biden, they are thinking that they don't want to give a free hand to this leftist agenda. They want to bring in some checks and balances. So I see that is one of the major reasons we are going to hold to both the seats, Republican seats in the Senate in this election. That's my view.
Okay, thank you. Raghav has shared a audio clip in YouTube which says Trump is, rather the heading of the video is WAPO released a recording of Trump blackmailing the Secretary of State of Georgia. Let me play that, and ahead of his visit tomorrow for campaigning for these 2 people, okay, this video came up, and also this audio came up rather. And also today, Biden and Harris, they have campaigned for those 2 candidates. Before actually voters go into this, let me play this audio and then let us see what is the strength in this audio. It's about 2 minutes. Okay, let me play this. Okay. This goes on like this. Basically, Trump says that the election has been rigged, and then the secretary did not do the right job, and then this Washington Post, I think it surfaced this audio, rather whenever it recorded, it surfaced 2 days before the election. Your opinion on this audio, Vishal? This goes on, another 3 minutes are there, two more minutes are there. Basically, Trump says this, and then the other guy says the election is.
I think we got the essence of it. All of us got the essence of it. What is the conversation about? So I don't think anything wrong with it. President is raising the concern. We don't want another rigged election in this country. He's raising the concern of one particular county where ballots were thrown, and he's raising the concern about Dominion machines. We all know what happened with those machines and how they're functioning. So president is raising those valid concerns. Where is the blackmail? And I am sure if you go to history, this is a recorded conversation. I'm sure if you go back to history, several other presidents would have called some secretaries of state and spoke to them about the elections. So is he saying that put everything in the Republican favor? No. He is just raising the concern about the integrity of elections. And not just he, half of the America is raising that concern. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay, you say, is it a blackmail as the heading put by?
You can put any heading as you want. We know how biased the media is. You will sell whatever is there. So you can put any heading you want. I don't think people are going to buy that.
Okay. Before we speak to Rao, who is a Democrat, and then Mangagar, your opinion on this video, will this have any bearing on the election itself?
No, absolutely. It will not have any bearing. I don't see any threat, any threatening tone to it. It is just a plain, simple conversation. I think anybody is having a conversation about election fraud, and he raised legitimate questions about the ballots, about ballots being thrown away and shredded and machines being replaced. And that's a conversation to have. I mean, if we can't have a conversation, then is it going to be a blackmail? And that's exactly how, for the last 4 years, Democrats have been portraying anything they have been saying has absolute validity, and anything on the Republican side of the aisle, anything they want to say or do, especially how fair have they been in the last 4 years to President Trump? They have never accepted him as a president, even though he is not elected now, at least as per their records. Where is the blackmail? I think that's very fair, legitimate questions that he had. We all know how biased this media is. That's why it's better to call them a fake news house and the CCP bought media. And I think the 74 million people who voted for Trump are much more wiser than just going by those headlines. And I think most Democrats are smart enough than people who express their opinions as blackmail and start sharing this as a blackmail thing. I think most Democrats are also smart, and people are much smarter than what these Democrats make things out. And I'm sure they have a good head on their shoulders, and they would go vote for Republicans tomorrow. And I think there would be absolutely no threat and no bearing how the election are going to be swung just based on this conversation. This is a great conversation, and I'm glad that our president is doing that.
Okay, Rao Garu, about this video, and then the impact on election, or whichever way you call.
Yeah, definitely. When I heard, I was really shocked, coming from the president of the United States, very threatening, in spite of all their allegations, which were fake, false allegations by legal means or by recounting, whatever it has gone through. It was already certified. Electoral votes were certified. After all that, president coming and using the tone, any sensible person would feel that it's a threatening and blackmailing hope there is a law around that a president directly calling, talking in that tone. And number two, if sensible people who are listening, who heard that video, definitely would not vote for Republican candidates. And also, if you look at that, the way the COVID vaccination is being used today, it's such a disgrace and shame that how it's being distributed here in Texas, in Dallas particularly. It's through word of mouth, and it is as a president, is not worried about the lives of the 330 million people, and it's more than 300,000 people killed, and is only worried about his job. If you look at the past presidents, they worked on until January 20th, 12 o'clock, and this man stopped working a long time right after the election, and he goes to his club, his club, and thinking about painting and yelling at his wife. And this is the kind of a leader that as Mangaji said, he didn't do anything for that. It's all about by Obama's initiatives. We are seeing the fruits now. If you go back and look at the statistics, either the economy or the employment, how the country came back from the recession is a proof that. But if sensible people in Georgia, by looking at all these facts about Trump and his leadership, and we had enough of Trump Republicans in the last 4 years. It's a time for us, for the younger generation, to have a better leadership for their future. So that that audio clip is definitely detrimental for Republicans, and hope that is going to favor Democratic candidates. Krishnaji, thanks.
Okay. See, as a host, my opinion about this audio clip is it is nothing new. Anybody who knew how Trump reacts or how Trump talks to his subordinates or the people is exactly the way for the last 4 years. Okay. It's nothing like blackmail. He has been telling the same thing in Twitter. He has been telling the same thing in 1 or 2 media interviews. So Washington Post coming in the last minute and making the heading as blackmail. Nobody is going to take that word called blackmail, because it's the style of Trump, which people know, like the style of the Democrats, what we know for the last 4 years and several years. So let us go to who is winning in Georgia. A little bit history. Vishal, you want to say something before we leave?
I just wanted to say on COVID vaccination, which Mr. Rao brought in, I just wanted to bring one point here. Mr. President has done whatever he was supposed to do. The doses of the vaccination, they are being shipped all over. I'll give you one quick fact. In New York and New Jersey, more than 500,000 of doses are lying in the state warehouses with the temperature controlled environment, but they are not being administered. What is being administered so far in New York and New Jersey is only 10% of the doses they got. Who is responsible for that? Are you going to hold Mr. President responsible for that? No. You have to ask your state governor in New York and New Jersey, what is going on here? Why is the delay there in administering those doses? I can tell you about New York and New Jersey. I don't know about other states. And both the states, we have Democratic governors. Now, who is stopping this vaccination speed? So that's what my question is.
Vishal, can
yeah. Hold on, Raugar, because you raised a point which is out of our discussion. Vishal has given his opinion. Let's have Mrs. Manga's opinion also.
Yeah, as far as the COVID vaccinations, getting them to the states, he has done his part. How they are being distributed is determined by the states, the state governors, and their legislators and administrators, medical administrators. That's who got the authority to do it. And I can see, I'm sorry to say this, how wrongly the Democrats even are not processing the information. And if Democrats are going to be I'm sorry to say, this dumb not to know the responsibilities of the federal government and the responsibilities of the state government. I think take these Democrats back to their high school and teach them some constitution, teach them the responsibilities of the state government and the federal government, and then make them say, give their opinions. And this is so ridiculous that they don't even know the federal responsibility and the state responsibility. It's time for even the adults to go back to school and learn constitution. That's what I would say. And let the governors of every state take responsibility of how they are going to administer. I think if Mr. Rao Garu has any problem the way it is being administered, I think you're the first one you should be writing to your governor. You should be the one who should be writing to your people who are in the health department. And probably that's a good start for you.
Yeah, I can, Krishna Garu, with your permission, I've been watching this whole COVID thing from the day one. Trump lacked leadership. Trump lacked a White House COVID team. He disbanded from the beginning, and he operated this in a very mismanaged the whole thing. And even today, they did not put a standard plan, nation level plan, how they should be distributed. And if the Texas Republican governor, he himself was frustrated with Trump right from the beginning. He's taking, I'm the leader here, I make the decision. He cannot make the decision that when to open the businesses in Texas, when not to. And when it comes to the true need of distribution, he failed thoroughly. And what is that he has done in the COVID? Zero. Yeah, to tell me one point that
we have a lot of points here, and then I would like to also bring in a lot of points about the COVID. Whatever Rao and then Vishal and Manga told, okay, let me put it in a different way. In America, the president is the most strongest weak president ever you take. People come to know only recently, oh, Trump is not doing this or this guy is not doing this. The problem here is for certain things, okay, except for the foreign policies and other things. Okay, the governor is more powerful than the president. President can only distribute, and after that his job is done. And governor takes that one, and he has given complete authority to distribute whichever way you want. Some people want to give the first liners first and then old people first. That is completely at their disposal. President has zero say, and he told this also. I'm sorry. When it comes to governor and then the county administrator is more powerful than governor. And then when it comes to local body is more powerful than governor in some aspects, even in the county. So therefore, the authority in certain things is low to the president and high at the local body level, and vice versa in certain things. In this connection, why Trump did not control COVID is the governors pull in some way, another governor pulls in some way, nobody listens right from the beginning Trump's words. And then when the governor decides some way, the county decides some way. See the New York, what happens. Okay, if the governor decides something and New York mayor does something, so mayor has complete authority, and New Jersey doesn't need to listen to Governor Cuomo. And Governor Cuomo, as you know, need not listen to Trump, and he does never listen to Trump. And he said that he doesn't want to take a Republican vaccine. And so is Kamala Harris, once told that she doesn't want to take Trump's vaccine. I think she took the Trump's vaccine. So these are all the things that happen. Let's not discuss. Trump is not responsible for a person-administered vaccine. It is the responsibility of the state and states, local bodies, and things like that. And so is police. Unlike in India, where the police is not controlled by center, but a state controls the entire police department of all the districts. Whereas in America, the state cannot control the police of all the cities. Each city controls the police. So the governor has zero say in the police department, how police department is running in a county or in a city. So therefore, let us not attribute every failure of this governor to Trump. With this, I want to take a break for a while and then run some advertisements of our sponsors. Okay, we'll come back soon. That's our sponsor, Easy Jobs, part-time, local, and seasonal jobs. Let's come back and then again concentrate on Georgia elections and who are going to win and things like that, the number of voters. Before that, Rao Garu want to say something. Go ahead, Rao.
About the Georgia elections?
Yes, you wanted to say something about the COVID when I'm closing, going for a break.
Yeah.
You were saying that you want to say something.
Yes, basically overall, if the situation of the COVID, what we are in today, such a superpower in the world, that the distribution is a disgrace. And I see that is because we lack the planning from day one. Trump did not have a White House staff dedicated for the COVID, and he did not get along with CDC, and he did not get along with WHO. Everything he was complaining from the day one, but I did not see a strong leadership to save 350,000 people and millions of people who got affected and who suffered the most. Still, people are suffering as it's getting, things are getting worse in Dallas. More and more counties are getting affected, and they're running out of hospital infrastructure. So, this is a typical of Trump's style of working, and I'm glad that as it stands today, that he is not an elected president. And Georgia, with a Georgia's election, I would like to see those two Senate candidates, Democrat candidates, get elected, and then America will recover the lost time in the development and put some order to this country for the future of this country. Thanks.
Did anybody want to counter Mr. Rao before we proceed with the candidates themselves?
Yeah. So I would like to say that this is totally incorrect to blame President Trump for all of the COVID-related things. And we had many debates about it. I don't understand. First of all, Mr. Rao said there was no staff in there. There was a COVID task force operating from White House, and Dr. Fauci was in there. Whole America was listening to that. So I don't understand what you mean by saying that there was no staff. There was a dedicated task force working on the various aspects, including the medical and economy. All the aspects were
including up to distribution of vaccine.
Everything. Now, second thing, as far as the distribution of COVID vaccine is concerned, I would like to know a single example, a single state where it has not been reached up to the state boundary or the state warehouse. There is no such example, because the whole supply chain was planned so nicely at the federal level. Wherever you see delay is only at the state or local level. I'm repeating the same thing again. There is no delay in supply chain management from the federal, Michigan, and Wisconsin warehouses to all the states. There is no delay in that. Now, as far as the COVID is concerned, I don't know what, if someone else was the president, Biden was the president, what else they could have done. I don't know, and nobody can tell me. Even Biden cannot tell you, other than just saying that you wear mask. Other than that, he cannot tell you what else he would have done differently. So we should stop blaming everything on Trump. And I understand that in this election, a lot of people voted emotionally just for COVID, and that's why they did not vote for Trump. People will realize in a few years that they have done a mistake and they have voted for a party which is going to take this country into a far left agenda, which will not be good for our country. That's my take on this.
Yeah, I want to add on whatever Vishal has mentioned. Everything that he said, I concur with him. And on top of it, one question that was not answered is right from the beginning that Trump has not done anything to stop COVID. Remember when India was offering hydroxychloroquine, who stopped that? It's the Democrats who stopped that. He always tried to bring hydroxychloroquine, and he made a deal with India, and India provided hydroxychloroquine. And in every Democrat-run states, the insurance companies were given a very strict and instructions that hydroxychloroquine cannot be prescribed by doctors. That's how they controlled hydroxychloroquine. And luckily for me, as a candidate, I had to put myself out there almost 16 hours and 20 hours a day. So I wasn't wearing masks. I'm not a mask person. So I had to depend on hydroxychloroquine. When my husband and I had the same primary care physician, when my husband was door knocking for me during my election, so he needed to be safe too. So when the same doctor prescribed hydroxychloroquine for my husband and for myself both, his insurance did not pay him. And for me, she has to put a special note that I'm a congressional candidate, and I'm out there among people, that I need to be protected. My health need to be protected and cannot be compromised. And she has to fight for my insurance to give me hydroxychloroquine. And I'm on hydroxychloroquine for the past month and a half, for 2 months. And that's what kept me safe. Had Democrats had any little sense not to stop President Trump and say hydroxychloroquine is a chemical that hurts you, and I think most of the deaths could have been prevented. I mean, if at all there's deaths in any Democrat states, go blame the Democrat governors, and go blame your Democrat leaders who wanted to stop hydroxychloroquine when India was making that medicine available for United States to get any amount of those medications given to us. I mean, that too in a very little time that it was arranged. I mean, too bad that Democrats did not want it. And people like myself who took that option and asked for it and wanted to be on it, and we are all safe. And I'm not a mask person. I don't wear a mask and go, other than the 2 weeks that I was supposed.
Yeah, ma'am, I think we have a lot more here. We diverted ourselves to COVID, the Trump Democrats and things like that. But let us close the topic by giving my opinion about this. See, Dr. Fauci has been saying something until election. After election, he completely U-turned the whole thing. Apart from whatever he said he wasn't doing during and up to election, like he said, wear mask, and he does have gatherings without mask. Leave that alone. He said that schools are not safe. And immediately after the election, he said schools are safe. And the other day, he was telling, because now that Trump is not there and then nobody need to be blamed. So therefore, he took the route of saying that people can go around and herd immunity is the only thing that is going to solve. That is what is his statement. Herd immunity means everybody has to mingle together with or without mask, and whatever damage that has happened to USA happened. And again, I want to say how and why China controlled and why America did not control. See, we have about 4 people here. 4 people pull different things in 4 different ways. Had this been heard the Trump way, maybe everybody would have got herd immunity, and then America would have conquered the coronavirus. Had this been the way of Biden, like everybody bunked themselves in basements, probably the virus would have disappeared. we don't know what is right and what is wrong. When Trump says we don't know what is right and what is wrong, and everybody was laughing at him. Trump is not got to say, okay, this is the vaccine or this is what it is. But Trump, what he did was to loosen the rules so that a lot of people have tried, right to try. It is the person who amended the FDA rules and things like that. So a lot of people have tried, sufficient number of people have tried in clinical trials 4 and 3 so that they could show the results of 95% or 90%, which is a bottom line for releasing a medicine. So this was laughed at by a governor of New York, stating that no, Trump did not do it. Our own New York company called Pfizer did it. Our own New York company, Crony Glass, has produced the pills and so on, which is wrong. Because had the rules not been deregulated, nobody would have come forward to try. So many people. If nobody willingly come forward, how many people they are going to say, hey, try this this one? It's very difficult for them to get the subjects to try this one. As subjects for their clinical trial. So that is what he has done. That is why the injection came 9 months flat, which they did not believe. And some people, they're branding it as Trump vaccine. Okay, whatever it is. Let us now concentrate on the candidates themselves. We have race one is David Perdue and John Ossoff, who is one is 70 years old and the other guy is less than 50% of his age. Okay, Perdue has served as a CEO of former CEO of Reebok, and then people say that he has some ties, and then they attribute it to wrongdoings in stocks that he traded. So that is one of his claim, and then which he said no. And then Perdue against Ossoff, he had 80,000 votes more he secured in the previous election, and he was not declared because he did not get 50% of the votes. So that is the state of Perdue and then Ossoff. Ossoff has been a video documentary producer turned politician, and he is alleged to have links with the CCP or a Chinese firm. The Chinese firm has the China government as the partner, and in this funds people here and producing the documents, and his company, Mr. Ossoff company has gotten money from the Chinese company. That is his, what is it called? His drawbacks. So now they are contending together. And then Loeffler, okay? She's a junior Georgia senator, and she has been appointed by Governor Kemp as a special senator because of the resignation of somebody else in 2019. So now she has to get elected. She never got elected. And then she is the wife of New York Stock Exchange's one of the director. Okay, and she is the by far richest senator who is running for Senate elections. And then she openly criticized Black Lives Matter. That is her drawback. Okay, and then again, she is a co-owner of NBA team in NBA women's team. The team name is I forgot. Okay, and then in the team, the players asked her to support Black Lives Matter, which she said because of her principal said no. And Reverend Warnock is another guy who has ties to the same church as Martin Luther King gave discourses. So that is one of the things. And then he is very, very left-oriented, but in the campaign, he is trying to be as center as possible. So these are the candidates. And Georgia, generally for the last 30 years, no Democrat won for Senate or otherwise. No presidential candidate won except for Biden. That is what it is. Taking into the account of the elections of November 3, especially Senate elections, it is predicted that Perdue and then Loeffler are they going to win these elections. But the polls show a marginal more number of points to less than 1 point to Democrats. That is what has happened in the recent past. So now the candidatures of special election, that is Lofer and then Warnock. Your opinion about the candidates and their winning possibilities. Let us start with Vishal.
Yeah, so first of all, let's start with Senator David Perdue. You mentioned.
No. Yeah. Anyway, you can take
I'll start with that because you mentioned about some stock tradings, and that's what is being raised by Democrats there. We have to do our homework and read it properly. Actually, Senate Ethics Committee cleared him of all the charges. There were charges put on Senator Perdue about some insider trading. There was an investigation, and Senate Ethics Committee cleared him of all the charges. I don't know what else you want there. That should be a closed deal now. While on the other side, for John Ossoff, still there is a discussion about his links to CCP. And he has not openly come out and proved that he has no link to Chinese Communist Party. I will leave it there. That's where we are in the first race. For the second race, where we have Kelly Loeffler and we have Reverend Raphael Warnock, we all know the history of Warnock. We all know that what he said in one of his statements in 2011, that you cannot serve God and military at the same time. So this is the biggest disrespect to the military and to the country. I don't know what else voters want to see here. So for me, that race is pretty clear. You don't want to vote for Warnock, who make this kind of statement, and we all know that he's a far leftist. So that's a clear one. And as far as the Senator Perdue is concerned, he's cleared off all the charges. So I think there is nothing against him at this point. So he should emerge as a clear winner. That's my view on both the candidates.
Manga, yourself.
I'm definitely supporting my Republican candidates. I think they have real strong credentials, and the ethics committee has cleared all the allegations that were made against David Perdue. So there's nothing for that stands in his way, and the elections are nothing there for him to prove. The Senate committee itself has proved that he's clean. And coming to his opponent, when is he wanting to clear himself that he has no ties with CCP? He needs to come clean and prove that he has no links. And he has not established that or proved that he has no links with CCP. That I think is true with every Democrat candidate that is running in 2020 that do not have any links to CCP or their influence and how they have been influencing the 2020 elections. And definitely the Warnock, I mean, what was he even thinking when he made that statement that you cannot serve God and military at the same time? Has he been on the military force anytime ever? Has he been on any of the military bases? There's always God in a military life. There's always a church. There are pastors. There are people who are counseling them. There is a church there. There's an open forum where people go talk about God. Maybe they cannot be in the church as often as civilians like us, but there's always God in military, and it has always been maintained. And that's a very wrong statement to make. That's the ignorance of most Democrats who are never been out of their own cocooning shell, that world they live in. You know, just come out of your cocoon and see the real world, and you will see where they lack their finesse and the facts.
Okay, fine. About the campaign finances, let's go whether money is going to play a part here. And again, Facebook recently has blocked David Perdue's advertisements. And that is why Trump is wanting that Section 230, the protection that the social media companies have to be repealed. Okay, coming back to the finances, so far, the special Senate election of Loeffler and then Warnock, the Republicans have sent 42 million and Democrats have sent 40 millions. So that is how much is the spending. And most of the money in the special election is brought by the candidate herself because of she is very wealthy and then pro-Trump candidate. She is very, very vocal about Trump and loyal to Trump. In fact, both the candidates are loyal to Trump. Whereas in the David Perdue and then Ossoff election, the money spent is 42 millions by Democrats so far, and then 39 billions by David Perdue. And in the coming days, that means this were taken this week, the week that has just passed, the Republicans have 118 millions to 76 millions advantage. And then again in Perdue Ossoff race, they have 126 million to 81 millions advantage. So in these circumstances, they have money power in Republicans and Democrats have less money. And then most money that came for Democrats is from outside of Georgia. And most of the tech companies' employees have given for this runoff elections. And whereas Republican money, most of that came from candidates, and then that came from the small donors within Georgia. And then a lot of money has been raised by the Senate majority leader. So coming to this fact, how this money is going to play in the election, will it get the voters? And again, okay, go ahead. Let us talk about the voters and the percentage of voters and how many blacks are there at a later stage. Let us talk about the money game, how it's going to play. Vishal.
Yeah, so I think money plays an important role, but up to an extent only. After that, it is the voter who decides. With more money, yes, you can put more ads, but finally it's the voter who sees that and decides where he has to vote or she has to vote. If you look at the money, I can give you a point why there's more money for Republicans, because I'm a Republican Party committee member. So I can see that we see this is our last shot here to save America for the next 4 years. So that's why Republican donors
make this as your final statement, Vishal. The reason is we are running out of time. I think we have a lot more things to discuss.
So that's my final statement. I was explaining you why more money is coming towards Republican, because we think that this is our last shot to save America. And that's why we are giving more money for donations. And but at the end of the day, money is going to buy you some ads which you put in front of people and people will decide. My last 2 cents, God bless America and God give us these 2 seats. We need it to run our country safely for next 4 years.
Okay, Manga, you have 1 minute.
Yep, this is definitely money plays a very important role, and as Vishal said, it will only go to a certain extent, and money definitely will not win everything. People are smart. People can make out what's the truth and what's not the truth. And I think both the Republican candidates are strong and established their credibility. People see that, and it's okay. Whatever the Democrats want to think, that if the money drives everything, but this is a very, very critical and important election that will either save our republic or it wipes out republic and our Republican Party. This is where we stand, and that's why I think the Republicans have woken up and started donating money. I think we have a very strong point here. And you made a very good point, Krishna Garu, yourself, that these Republican candidates got most of their money from the local people, small donations. That speaks a lot. Money that comes from outside is always kind of a money that may or may not be acceptable for what the voters are going to think.
Yeah. Thank you, Manga Garu. I think we are running out of time. We'll give last chance to Rao Garu. Your closing remarks. Okay, sorry
Yes,
about
Krishna
it.
Garu. Quickly, money. The money that Democrats have is good enough to get the message across. I think there's a lot of youth in the state, and this is going to definitely help Democratic candidates, which is needed very much for Biden's administration. I wish good luck to Democratic candidates.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming to the show. And dear viewers, this is for today's Spotlight, sponsored by Easy Jobs. And we'll come back to you next week with another topic. By then, we would have clarity on whether Trump's claim that he is going to be the next president is true or not also. Let's see. Wait and watch until 6th of January. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.